This is the Fifth Estate Winning Headlines, your media police post. In this segment, we summarize some of the headlines that you may have missed this morning, but we also take a look at the political pieces that we call cartoons in this country. Today is the 26th of April 2022, and I am 2J.
I am 2M.
And I am JM. In case you missed the headlines this morning, here they are in the Daily Nation. A nation mourns. In the Standard, Kenya honors Kibaki. In the Star, running mate crisis. IEBC calls urgent meet. And then in the People Daily, respect, love, agony. 2J, kick us off.
That People Daily headline sounds like the title of a Bob Marley song or something.
Absolutely.
Anyway, today I feel compelled to speak to my relatives, the Kalenjin Nation. Yes, we're related. And I feel compelled because your politics is being organized and you are asleep.
Kabisa.
William Ruto is only accountable to William Ruto. And because of that, his mode of operation is to eliminate any threat.
Yeah.
It is how he organized the Jubilee nominations in 2017. It's how he handled the UDA nominations this month. And it's how he stole the Gema nation right under from Uhuru Kenyatta's nose. Complete control is the name of the game for the DP. But while Ruto spent the last 5 years campaigning in central Kenya, he assumed that the Rift Valley was secure. However, the cracks are beginning to show. Alfred Keter had his UDA nomination stripped from him. And old clips show Caleb Kositani abusing Keter simply because he's Kipsigis. And the logic is simple. A strong 1.9 million Kipsigis vote is a threat to the smaller Nandi 900,000. Does Ruto fear a Kipsigis leader? And is he capable of keeping the Kalenjin vote all under one roof? And I think we can only answer that question by examining the leadership of the original Kalenjin schemer, Arap Moi. Now, an interesting piece of Kenyan history. In 1955, the Great Rift Valley was staring at a crisis of representation after Joseph Ole Tameno, a Maasai and member of LegCo for Rift Valley, resigned. So the region was in turmoil as a suitable replacement was being sought.
Right.
Daniel Torotich Arap Moi, a government teacher, was the only hope.
Right.
However, Moi loved his teaching job and he didn't want to go into politics.
Yes.
But his age mates managed to persuade him with the assurance that if things didn't work out, he could always go back to teaching.
Wow.
Well, we all know how the story goes. In close to 50 years of leadership, Arap Moi took the Kalenjin community from obscurity to the helm of political power in Kenya. But this did not happen with roses and kisses.
Right.
Moi was gentle but cunning. He would plan and no one would see him coming. But even more important is that he held the absolute instruments of violence. If it didn't go through Nyayo, it didn't exist. And these are the lessons I think that Ruto forgot. Not only is he too obvious, he forgets that the days of commanding silence are over. In the meantime, it is said that his system has been starved of cash and he lives with an eviction notice hanging over his head. So what is my point here? Ruto's need for control will be the undoing of a united Kalenjin nation. And it is the Kalenjin themselves who will be the losers. Will they vote as one come August 9th? Or will we see a split vote like the likes of Gema? But more importantly, is a divide of the Kalenjin nation a vote of no confidence in William Ruto's leadership?
Woo, woo, woo.
Good question. Yeah, absolutely. Time will tell. Now, today, I would like to tell you why William Ruto wants to make Musalia Mudavadi his running mate. And I'll base my submission on the historical voting patterns in the 2002 succession election. So, according to William Ruto, here are the 3 reasons why Mudavadi makes sense. And UDA supporters, please correct me here if I'm wrong. Okay? Number 1, it is the magic formula. Because ethnicity has been and continues to be the principal mobilizing factor for presidential elections in Kenya, All a candidate needs, as Tom Boyer told us, is 2 big communities and 1 small one.
Right.
Now, from a turnout perspective, and this is based on an analysis of patterns from the last 5 multi-party elections, we estimate that at least 2 million Kalenjin voters will turn out in August, 1.8 million Luya voters will turn out, and 4.6 million Gema voters will also turn out. In this constellation, the Kikuyu and the Kalenjin nations are the one big tribe. The Luya are the second big tribe. The small tribe, well, perhaps pockets of coast and Kisii. Number 2, Ruto knows that a Luya running mate has proven to work in the past.
Right.
He also knows that if he makes Mudavadi deputy president, he will rally most of them behind him. In 2002, the Kibaki Wamalwa ticket won the election.
Yes.
During this election, because Luyas were given the DP post, more than 3/4 of them came out to support Mwai Kibaki.
Right.
So according to Ruto, with his 2 million Kalenjins, if he makes Mudavadi deputy, he will get at least 1.35 Luya votes, 35 million.
Yes.
And because Kikuyus are showing signs of supporting Ruto for president, irregardless of whether they get running mate or not, Ruto can hypothetically bank on at least 2/3 of Kikuyus, being about 3 million voters. Why 2/3? Again, it is historical. When Uhuru and Kibaki ran against each other in 2002, Central Kenya voted 2/3 in favor of Kibaki and 1/3 in favor of Uhuru.
Yep.
In sum, if the 2002 voting patterns hold, the Ruto Mudavadi ticket, as he's thinking about it, would start off with 2 million Kalenjins, 1.35 million Luyas, and 3 million Kikuyus. That's a total of 6.3 million votes. And that's not a bad start when you consider that the 50% plus one threshold in 2022 will be about 7.6 million.
Right.
So he will only be 1.3 million votes shy of this mark. Finally, 3. The Kalenjin Luya duo has the power of context,
Right.
according to the thinking of William Ruto here. As President Kenyatta said last year, there seems to be a sort of fatigue around the circulation of power between only 2 communities. It is time for Kenya to turn a new chapter, to circulate power amongst some of the other communities, the Big 5. And with the selection of Mudavadi and not a Kikuyu, Ruto will emerge more like a statesman. That's what he's thinking. Whether it will hold, that's a different question altogether.
I guess those UDA people can reach out to you on TikTok if
Yes,
they if they disagree.
Please.
I'd really want him to do that. Pick Mudavadi as a running mate. I mean, go ahead and do that. Now, today, we want to tell the country that William Ruto's aim is to force a stalemate in August. But, put simply, his aim is to be in government by any means necessary. And our hypothesis is partly backed by history. And that piece of history is a 2007-2008 post-election violence. It is not the loss of lives and displacement of people we are on about. No, it is the disruption of trade in the whole of East Africa. But before we tell you Ruto's hypothetical game plan, let us paint a picture of how East Africa's trade was disrupted by the 2007-2008 PEV. Excuse me. In 2008, just like it is now, all of East Africa relied on the port of Mombasa for supplies. Every day, over 4,000 cars, 1,500 trucks, 1,300 buses, and over 10 million tons of cargo used Kenya's road network to Uganda, Burundi, Rwanda, Sudan, and DRC. When violence broke out, some genius hustler used warriors to erect roadblocks across the transport corridors used by the 5 countries. The result was catastrophic. In the first 60 days of 2008, transportation of goods to these 5 countries stopped. In fact, by the first week of February 2008, Uganda's economy had lost $50 million because of destruction of goods at the roadblocks. The Ugandan Revenue Authority was losing $600,000 every single day in revenue collection. Rwandese traders demanded $6 million in compensation from the Kenyan government for the losses incurred in Kenya. Tanzania's traders even sued the Kenya government for over $1 million for the losses they incurred. The roadblocks had effectively become the blood clots that stopped the flow of trade across East Africa's most important trade artery. Question is, can it happen again? And the answer is yes. How, you may ask? If Chief Hustler used warriors to erect roadblocks in 2008, this time round, he doesn't need to. All that is required is the blowing up of a single pillar of SGR, and East Africa's trade will grind to a halt. And that's because East Africa's trade now more than ever relies on Kenya's railway network than it does by road. Transport has been made 10 times more efficient by SGR. SGR cut travel time from Mombasa to Uganda from 7 days to 17 hours. In fact, if you blow up a single pillar of SGR, we would revert back to default settings that we had in 1898 when the colonizers built their old rail. What's my point here? If the hustler blows up a single pillar of SGR, God forbid, Museveni, Kagame, Suluhu, Tshisekedi will be in Nairobi in a matter of hours asking Raila to accept a coalition deal with Ruto. Put differently, East Africa would hate to relive the 2008 experience. And therefore, a deal with the devil will be the only way out of economic ruin. And that is how Ruto will find himself in government. But I could also be wrong.
Well, what a hypothesis. You've exposed a probable plan there. Now, we have a 3-part criteria to assess the headlines. Topical or speculative, repetitive, groundbreaking, and thoughtful, or just plain lazy. What are you gravitating towards, guys?
We must toss the PD immediately for failing to make respect, love, and oh gosh.
Tell you.
We must also toss the star.
Yes.
For the IBC is calling an urgent meet.
I mean,
meet or meeting?
Duh.
I mean, not even that. I mean, for the first day, Kibaki was laid in state.
Yeah,
you know, I mean, you cannot miss that.
Yeah.
What kind of context? Who's the editor? I mean, you cannot miss that.
Yeah, you know, I think at some point politics has to stop.
Yeah, absolutely. CFR president. Get a grip of things.
Maybe then can we award both the Daily Nation and the Standard?
Absolutely.
For having the power for living in the context and doing a really good job limiting their headlines to three words there.
Strong headlines.
Yeah, strong headlines. So the Standard and the Daily Nation, but the Standard is, I think, the better one of the two. But in respect of you know, what's happening in Parliament right now, both of them will give us our winning headline.
Indeed.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us tonight. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're also on your TV screens. You can find me on TikTok at Maina Wakangema. How about you, 2J?
As always, you can find me right here on this table.
Alrighty.
Find me on Twitter at KMina and on TikTok at Kandabongo.
So I need to get a TikTok.
You do. Absolutely. It's the future. Have a good night, guys.